Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty and watched the alien ship grow larger on the main screen. His heart beat fast in his chest. This was the moment Earth had waited for, since humans first looked up at the stars. First, contact with an alien race. The alien ship was huge, much bigger than the Liberty. It looked like a giant metal beast with sharp edges and glowing red lights. Jake had never seen anything like it. No human had. "Captain, they are sending us a message," said Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter. She was the ship's best diplomat. Earth had sent her because she could speak 12 languages and had studied alien contact procedures for years. "Put it on screen," Jake said. The screen flickered and showed the inside of the alien ship. Jake's mouth fell open. The creature standing there was like a giant lizard that walked on 2 legs. It had dark green scales and yellow eyes that looked cold and mean. The alien wore black armor with silver spikes. Scars covered its face and arms. "I am Admiral Zexthara of the Viridian Empire," the creature said. Its voice was deep and rough like grinding stone. "You will identify yourselves." Immediately, Jake stepped forward. He had practiced this moment many times. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel USS Liberty. We come in peace from the planet Earth. We hope to learn about your people and share knowledge." The alien admiral laughed. It was not a nice sound. Peace? Knowledge? Zexthara showed sharp white teeth. Weak words from a weak species. Lisa moved next to Jake. "Admiral, we have traveled far to meet you. Our people wish to establish friendly relations with the Viridian Empire." "Friendly relations," Zexthara repeated slowly. The alien looked at other creatures behind him. They were smaller, but still lizard-like. They all laughed together. "Tell me, humans, how many worlds do you control?" "We control one world, Earth." Jake answered honestly, "One world." Zexthara's eyes got brighter. "The Viridian Empire controls 47 worlds. We have conquered races much stronger than you. Races with claws and armor and weapons that could burn your ship to nothing." Chief Security Officer Pete Williams stepped closer to Jake. Pete was a big man with strong arms and quick reflexes. He did not like how this conversation was going. His hand moved closer to his weapon. "We may only have one world, but we are not weak," Pete said firmly. Admiral Zexthara looked at Pete like he was looking at an insect. "Not weak? Prove it. Show me your weapons. Show me your armies." Jake held up his hand to stop Pete from saying more. "We did not come here to show weapons. We came to talk, to learn, to build bridges between our peoples." "Bridges," the Admiral said with disgust. "You speak like prey animals. In the galaxy, there are only 2 types of beings: predators and prey, hunters and food, the strong and the weak." Dr. Amy Rodriguez, the ship's scientist, watched the alien carefully. She was taking notes on her computer. The way the Admiral moved, the way he spoke, the way the other aliens acted around him. Everything might be important later. "Which are you, humans?" Zexthara continued. "Are you predators or prey?" "We are neither," Lisa said. "We are explorers. We are builders. We are teachers and learners." The Admiral's laugh was louder this time. "Then you are prey, and prey has only one purpose: to feed the predators." Jake felt cold fear in his stomach, but he kept his voice steady. "Admiral, surely we can find common ground. Trade, technology exchange, cultural sharing. These things benefit everyone." "The only thing that benefits me is conquest," Zexthara said. His voice became hard and dangerous. "I will give you one chance, Captain Morrison. Tell me the location of your Earth. Give me the coordinates to your homeworld. Submit to Viridian rule. Serve the Empire, and some of your people may live as slaves." The bridge of the Liberty went very quiet. Jake looked at his crew. Lisa's face was pale. Pete's hand was now on his weapon. Amy was still taking notes, but her hands were shaking. "And if we refuse?" Jake asked. "Then your entire species dies," the Admiral said simply. "We will hunt down every human ship. We will find your Earth. We will burn your cities and kill your children. We will make your people extinct." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. These aliens thought humans were weak just because they came in peace. They thought kindness was the same as weakness. They were wrong. "Admiral, you do not know humans very well," Jake said. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. "We have survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We have climbed the highest mountains and crossed the deepest oceans. We have split the atom and touched the stars. We are not prey." Zexthara's eyes narrowed. Brave words. "Let us see how brave you are when you watch your friends die." The Admiral made a signal with his clawed hand. Suddenly, alien soldiers appeared on the screen behind him. They were dragging 3 humans in torn uniforms. Jake recognized them. They were the crew from the escort ship USS Falcon. "These humans tried to run when we captured their ship," Zexthara said. "Running is what prey does." The alien soldiers forced the human prisoners to their knees. One soldier pulled out a curved blade that glowed with energy. "No," Lisa shouted. "They are prisoners. They have rights." "Rights?" The Admiral laughed again. "Prey has no rights." The energy blade came down. Jake turned away, but he heard the sounds. When he looked back, the 3 humans were dead. "That is the fate of all humans who resist the Empire," Zexthara said. "Now, Captain Morrison, give me your answer. Submit or die." Jake looked at his crew again. Pete was ready to fight. Lisa had tears in her eyes, but her jaw was set with determination. Amy was still watching and learning. "Here is my answer, Admiral," Jake said clearly. "Go to hell." Zexthara's face twisted with rage. "Then you have chosen death. All humans will pay for your pride." The screen went black. Immediately, alarms started ringing on the Liberty's bridge. "Captain," shouted Tony Martinez from the engine. "Room through the communication system. Enemy ships are moving to attack positions. All hands battle stations." Jake ordered, "Pete, get us out of here. Maximum speed." "What about the diplomatic mission?" Lisa asked. Jake watched as the alien ships on the screen turned toward them like hungry sharks. The diplomatic mission just became a war. The USS Liberty turned and ran into the darkness of space. Behind them, the Viridian ships gave chase. The first contact between humans and aliens was over, and humanity had just made its first enemy among the stars. 3 months had passed since the USS Liberty escaped from Admiral Zexthara. 3 months of running and hiding in the cold darkness between stars. Captain Jake Morrison looked tired. His uniform was dirty and patched. His face had new lines from worry and sleepless nights. The Liberty was not the same ship that had gone to meet the aliens. Burns and dents covered its hull. The lights inside were dimmer to save power. The crew moved quietly through the corridors like ghosts. "Captain, we are getting low on supplies again," said Tony Martinez. The chief engineer wiped grease from his hands with an old rag. "Food will last maybe 2 weeks. Water recycling is working, but barely." Jake nodded. He had heard this report too many times. "Any word from the other ships?" "The USS Eagle checked in yesterday," Pete Williams said. "They are hiding in the asteroid field near Gamma Station. The USS Hawk is still silent." "We think the aliens found them." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. The Hawk had carried 120 people. Good people. Friends. "Sir, I have something." Dr. Amy Rodriguez called from her science station. She had been studying pieces of alien technology that Pete's team had collected from wrecked Viridian ships. I think I found a weakness. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at her. Amy had lost weight like all of them, but her eyes were still bright with curiosity. Tell me, Jake said. The Viridians are overconfident, Amy explained. They have won so many easy battles that they do not expect real resistance. Look at this. She put an alien computer device on the main table. This came from a Viridian. Scout ship. Their security is terrible. They never thought anyone would be smart enough to break their codes. Lisa Carter leaned forward to look. She had been learning the Viridian language from captured transmissions. What did you find? Battle plans, Amy said with excitement. Supply routes, ship schedules, and something else. They are bringing in more ships to hunt us. A whole fleet. Commanded by someone called Admiral Cathvar. Pete made an angry sound. Let them come. We have been preparing. That was true. The human ships had changed in 3 months of war. Tony had installed weapons taken from destroyed alien vessels. Pete had trained the crew in new fighting techniques. They had learned to hit fast and disappear before the enemy could respond. There is more, Amy continued. I found records of other species the Viridians conquered. Most of them gave up after 1 or 2 battles, but some fought longer. There are still resistance groups hiding in different parts of the galaxy. Other rebels? Jake asked. This was the first good news in weeks. Double quotes, yes. And some of them are close to our position. If we could contact them, maybe we could work together. Jake looked around at his crew. They were tired and scared, but they were not beaten. 3 months ago, they had been explorers and diplomats. Now they were soldiers in a war they never wanted. Amy, keep working on those alien computers. Lisa, see if you can decode any messages from resistance groups. Pete, how are our weapons? Getting better every day, Pete said with a grim smile. The aliens make good weapons, but they are not very creative. Once you understand how they work, you can improve them. And Tony? The engines are running hot, but they will hold together, the engineer replied. I have some ideas for making us faster, but I need more alien parts. Then we get more parts, Jake said. Amy, where is the next Viridian supply convoy? Amy checked her stolen data. There is a transport ship carrying weapons and food to their base at Kepler Station. It will pass through the Broken Belt asteroid field in 2 days. Perfect. We know that area well. Jake turned to Pete. Can we take a transport ship without destroying it? If we are smart about it, yes. Hit the engines first, then board before they can call for help. Good. Lisa, prepare a team for boarding. Amy, I want you there too. We need someone who understands their technology. Captain, Lisa said carefully, are we really going to keep fighting? We are just one ship. The Viridians have hundreds. Jake was quiet for a moment. He thought about the 3 humans who died on the alien ship. He thought about Earth, somewhere far away, not knowing that aliens were coming to destroy it. Lisa, the Viridians think we are prey animals. They think we will run and hide until they catch us and kill us. They do not understand humans very well. What do you mean? Humans do not give up. When you corner a human, when you threaten everything, they love, they do not become weak. They become dangerous. Jake looked at each member of his crew. We are not going to run anymore. We are going to fight. And we are going to win. 2 days later, the USS Liberty waited in the shadow of the large asteroid. The Viridian transport ship was coming, just like Amy's stolen data had said. It was big and slow, carrying supplies for the alien fleet. Target approaching, Pete reported quietly. 1 transport, 2 escort fighters. Remember the plan, Jake said over the ship's communication system. We want that transport intact. Tony, are the new weapons ready? Ready, Captain. The electromagnetic pulse should shut down their systems without destroying the ship. Lisa, is your boarding team prepared? Ready, sir? Amy has the scanner devices to copy their computer files. We will be fast. The alien ships came closer. Jake waited until they were in the perfect position. Fire, he ordered. Blue energy shot out from the Liberty's weapons. The electromagnetic pulse hit the transport ship and its escort fighters. Their lights went out. Their engines stopped. They floated helpless in space. Go, Jake said. Small human shuttle ships shot out from the Mar Liberty and attached to the alien transport. Lisa's team cut through the hull and went inside. They found the alien crew unconscious from the electromagnetic pulse. Transport secured, Lisa reported. Beginning data download and supply transfer. Amy worked quickly with the alien computers. More battle plans, more supply routes, more information about Viridian weaknesses. But she found something else, too. Captain, you need to hear this, Amy said over the radio. Her voice was excited. I found a transmission about human prisoners. The aliens have captured people from destroyed Earth colonies. They are being held at a prison facility called Dark Station. Jake felt his heart speed up. There were still humans alive out there. How many? At least 200, maybe more. They are being used as slaves to build Viridian weapons. Where is this Dark Station? 3 days' travel from here? But Captain, it is heavily defended. 20 warships at least. Jake made his decision quickly. We cannot leave our people in alien hands. Mark the location. We will find a way. The boarding. Teams returned to the Liberty with alien supplies and stolen data. As they prepared to leave, Pete noticed something on his sensors. Captain, we have company. 3 Viridian warships coming fast. How did they find us so quickly? Amy checked the alien computer she was still connected to. The transport had an automatic distress signal. It activated when we hit them with the pulse. Time to go, Jake said. Tony, best speed. The Liberty accelerated away from the asteroids. Behind them, the alien warships grew larger. They were faster than the human ship. They are gaining, Pete reported. We need to lose them in the asteroid field. What followed was a deadly game of hide and seek among the floating rocks. The Liberty twisted and turned between asteroids, using its smaller size to stay ahead of the bigger alien ships. Tony pushed the engines harder than ever before. One alien ship got too close to a large asteroid and crashed. The explosion lit up space with orange fire, but the other 2 kept coming. Captain, I have an idea, Amy said. These alien ships have a weakness in their navigation system. If I can hack into their computers from here, I might be able to confuse their sensors. Do it. Amy's fingers moved quickly over the alien computer interface she had learned to use. Strange symbols appeared on her screen. The pursuing alien ships suddenly slowed down and began turning in circles. Their navigation is confused, Amy explained. They think they are flying into a gravity well. It will not last long, but it should give us time to escape. The Liberty shot out of the asteroid field and jumped to faster-than-light speed. They were safe for now. Later, as the crew rested and ate food taken from the alien transport, Jake called his officers together. We have a choice to make, he said. We can keep running and hiding, or we can start fighting back for real. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Those prisoners at Dark Station. The resistance groups Amy found. The fact that the aliens are overconfident and make mistakes. Jake looked at each of them. We can hurt them. We can make them afraid. Pete smiled for the first time in weeks. I like the sound of that. But Captain, Lisa said, we are still just one ship. For now, Jake replied. But every war starts with one person who decides to fight. Every revolution begins with someone who says no more. Amy nodded slowly. The data I stole shows the aliens are planning something big. A final attack on Earth. We are running out of time. Jake stood up and walked to the window that showed the stars outside. Somewhere out there was Earth. Somewhere out there were human prisoners waiting for rescue. And somewhere out there was Admiral Zexthara, thinking he had already won. Then, we stop running, Jake said. We find those resistance groups. We rescue our people. And we show the Viridian Empire what happens when you threaten humanity. The USS Liberty flew through the darkness toward an uncertain future. But for the first time since the war began, Captain Jake Morrison felt hope. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the massive alien ship on his screen. The Conquest of Stars was the biggest warship he had ever seen. It was like a floating city made of black metal and sharp edges. Red lights glowed along its hull like angry eyes. That is where Admiral Zexthara lives, said Alex Turner. He was a human explorer who had been rescued from an alien prison camp 2 weeks ago. Alex was thin and had scars on his arms, but his mind was sharp. The ship has 5,000 crew members and enough weapons to destroy a planet. Jake nodded. They had learned a lot from Alex and the other rescued prisoners. The Viridian Empire was bigger and more dangerous than anyone on Earth had imagined. But they had also learned something else. The aliens had weaknesses. Tell me about the War Council again, Jake said. Alex pointed to a section of the ship on the display. Once every month, Admiral Zexthara meets with his commanders in the Central War Room. They plan attacks and divide up conquered worlds. Security is tight, but they do allow some outsiders. What kind of outsiders? Asked Dr. Amy Rodriguez. Bounty hunters mostly. Aliens who bring prisoners or information to sell. The Admiral likes to see captured enemies before he decides how to kill them. Lisa Carter looked up from the alien uniform she was studying. So if we could disguise ourselves as bounty hunters... We could get inside the ship, Pete Williams finished. But it would be suicide. Even if we got to the Admiral, we would never get out alive. Jake was quiet for a moment. He thought about the human colonies that had been destroyed. He thought about Earth, undefended and unaware. He thought about the message Amy had decoded yesterday. The Viridian fleet was moving toward human space. They had maybe 2 months before the invasion began. We are not trying to get out alive, Jake said. Finally, we are trying to stop a war. The room went silent. Everyone understood what he meant. Captain, Lisa said carefully, there has to be another way. Amy, show them the intelligence data. Amy activated a hologram that showed the Viridian fleet positions. Hundreds of red dots filled the display, each one representing an alien warship. This is what Earth is facing. Amy explained. Admiral Zexthara commands the entire invasion force. If we remove him, the other commanders will fight each other for control. It might give Earth time to prepare defenses. Tony Martinez leaned forward. The ship's computer core is protected by quantum encryption. But if someone could access it directly from the war room, they could upload a virus to the entire fleet. What kind of virus? Pete asked. Something that would make their navigation systems fail, Tony said with a grim smile. Turn their own weapons against each other. Create chaos in their ranks. Alex nodded slowly. It could work. The Viridians are arrogant. They would never expect humans to be smart enough to hack their systems. Jake looked around the table at his officers. I am not ordering anyone to come with me. This is volunteer. Only, I am in, Pete said immediately. Me too, said Lisa. And me, Amy added. Tony grinned. Someone has to upload that virus. Jake felt proud of his crew, but also scared for them. Alex, we need you to stay with the ship. If this goes wrong, someone needs to warn Earth. Understood, Captain. They spent the next week preparing. Amy studied Viridian technology until she could operate their computers as well as any alien. Lisa practiced speaking like a bounty hunter from the recordings they had captured. Pete and Tony worked on weapons that could pass alien security scanners. Hardest part was getting the right disguises. The rescued prisoners helped by sharing everything they remembered about alien customs and behavior. They learned that different species in the Viridian Empire acted in different ways. Some were aggressive, others were sneaky, and a few were just trying to survive. "We will pose as Catherian bounty hunters," Alex suggested. "They are reptile-like but smaller than Viridians. They work for money and do not ask questions." Amy used alien technology to create false skin and features that would fool scanners. It was uncomfortable and felt strange, but when she was finished, the humans looked like small lizard people. The day of the mission arrived. The USS Liberty approached the conquest of stars carefully. The alien ship was even more frightening up close. Weapons platforms covered its surface like deadly flowers. "Liberty Shuttle, identify yourself," came a harsh voice over the radio. Lisa answered in perfect Etherian language. "This is Bounty Hunter Sector. We carry human prisoners for Admiral Zexthara." There was a pause. "You are not scheduled." "The humans were captured during a raid on their supply convoy," Lisa said smoothly. "Admiral Kethfer said the Admiral would want to see them immediately." Another pause. Then, "Proceed to Docking Bay 7. You will be met by security." The small shuttle detached from the Liberty and flew toward the huge alien ship. Jake felt his heart beating fast as they entered the docking bay. Alien soldiers with energy weapons watched them land. "Remember," Jake whispered to his team, "stay in character. We are greedy bounty hunters who only care about money." They walked down the shuttle ramp, carrying fake prisoners in energy chains. The prisoners were actually mannequins dressed to look like humans, but the aliens did not look too closely. A Viridian security officer approached them. He was 7 feet tall, with dark scales and yellow eyes. "I am Commander Theises. You will follow me to the processing center." They walked through corridors filled with alien crew members. The ship was like a maze of metal passages and glowing panels. Jake tried to memorize the route while staying in character. "How much do you want for the humans?" Commander Theises asked. 10,000 credits each," Lisa replied. "They have information about human military positions. The Admiral will decide their value." They reached a security checkpoint. Scanners examined their weapons and equipment. Jake held his breath, but Tony's modifications worked. The alien technology saw nothing suspicious. As they walked deeper into the ship, Amy quietly activated a small device hidden in her clothing. It began copying data from the ship's computer networks. "The war room is on level 15, Alex had told them. "But first you will have to wait in the prisoner holding area." Commander Theises led them to a large room filled with cages. Jake's stomach turned when he saw what was inside. Dozens of aliens from different species sat behind energy bars. Many looked hurt and scared, but what made Jake angry were the humans. 23 men and women in torn Earth uniforms sat in the largest cage. They looked thin and beaten, but their eyes still showed defiance. One of the humans looked up as the fake bounty hunters entered. It was Colonel Dan Murphy, who Jake recognized from military reports. Dan's eyes met Jake's for just a moment. Something passed between them, a recognition that was quickly hidden. "Put your prisoners in cage 12, Commander Theises ordered. "The Admiral will see them after the War Council meeting." Lisa and Pete dragged the fake prisoners to the cage and locked them inside. To anyone watching, they were just bounty hunters doing their job. "You will wait here," the commander said. "Do not try to leave this area." After he left, Jake and his team sat down to wait. They had to be patient. The War Council would not begin for 2 more hours. Amy continued copying data from the ships. Computers. The device hidden in her clothing was small but powerful. It was gathering information about Viridian fleet positions, battle plans, and weapon capabilities. How many guards? Pete whispered very quietly. Jake looked around carefully. 8 that I can see, maybe more hidden. The ventilation system connects to the war room, Amy said softly. I found the blueprints in their computer. Time passed slowly. Jake watched the alien guards and studied the room. He noticed that the guards changed shifts every hour. During the change, there was always a moment when fewer guards were watching. Finally, the time came. New guards arrived to replace the old ones. In the confusion of the shift change, Jake's team moved. Pete disabled the security cameras with a small electromagnetic device. Amy opened the cage locks using codes she had stolen from the ship's computer. Lisa created a distraction by arguing with one of the guards about payment. Jake slipped into the ventilation system through a maintenance panel. The metal passage was narrow and dark, but he crawled forward toward the war room. Behind him, his team kept the guards busy while the freed prisoners prepared for what was coming next. Colonel Dan Murphy had quickly understood that a rescue was happening. He was getting the other humans ready to fight. Jake reached the war room and looked down through a grating. The sight below made his blood run cold. Admiral Zexthara sat at the head of a large table surrounded by alien commanders from across the Empire. On the walls were displays showing human space, Earth itself marked with a red targeting symbol. The final attack begins in 43 days, the Admiral was saying. Earth's defenses are weak. Their military is scattered across many small outposts. We will overwhelm them quickly. Another alien commander, one with blue scales and metal implants, leaned forward. What about the human resistance? The ship that has been attacking our convoys? Zexthara laughed. One small ship? Let them play. Their games. Soon there will be no humans left to resist. Jake listened to the aliens plan the destruction of his species. They talked about human colonies like they were discussing farm animals. They planned to enslave survivors and strip Earth of its resources. The anger that built up in Jake's chest was like fire. These Cretu? The war room exploded into chaos as alarms screamed throughout the ship. Admiral Zexthara stood up so fast that his chair fell backward. His yellow eyes burned with rage as he stared at the human who had somehow appeared in his most secure room. Kill him, the Admiral roared. 6 alien commanders reached for their weapons, but Jake was already moving. 3 months of guerrilla warfare had taught him to think fast and strike first. He dove behind the large table as energy blasts lit up the air where he had been standing. The war room door burst open, and Pete Williams charged in with a captured alien rifle. "Captain!" he shouted, firing at the guards who were trying to enter. "About time," Jake called back. He grabbed a ceremonial blade from the wall and threw it across the room. The weapon hit Commander Thizes in the chest, dropping him to the floor. Lisa Carter and Amy Rodriguez appeared in the doorway behind Pete. Lisa carried 2 alien pistols and was firing with deadly accuracy. Amy had a computer device in one hand and a small weapon in the other. "The virus is ready." Amy shouted over the noise of battle. "I need 60 seconds to upload it." "You will not live 60 seconds. Admiral Zexthara pulled out a massive energy sword that hummed with power. The blade was as long as Jake's arm and glowed red-hot. The Admiral swung the sword at Jake's head. Jake rolled sideways, and the blade cut through the metal table like it was paper. Sparks flew everywhere as the cut edges glowed white-hot. "Pete, cover Amy," Jake ordered as he scrambled away from another sword strike. Pete and Lisa formed a defensive line at the door, keeping more guards from entering the room. Their alien weapons fired streams of energy that lit up the corridor outside. But Jake could hear more soldiers coming. They would be overwhelmed soon. Jake circled around the war room, staying away from the Admiral's deadly sword. Zexthara was bigger and stronger, but the confined space worked against him. His weapon was too big for close fighting. "You think you can defeat me, little human?" the Admiral snarled. "I have killed warriors from a dozen worlds." "Maybe," Jake said, dodging another swing. "But they probably fought fair." Jake grabbed a chair and threw it at the Admiral's head. While Zexthara was distracted, Jake lunged forward with a sharp piece of broken metal from the cut table. He drove it into a gap in the alien's armor. Zexthara roared in pain and anger. Green blood flowed from the wound. He swung his sword in a wide arc that would have cut Jake in half, but Jake dropped to the floor and swept the Admiral's legs. The massive alien crashed down, his sword flying across the room. Jake jumped on top of him, but Zexthara was incredibly strong. He threw Jake off like he weighed nothing. Both fighters got to their feet at the same time. Now they were both armed with their hands and whatever they could grab. The Admiral had claws, but Jake had something more important. He had anger. 30 seconds, Amy called out. Her fingers flew over the alien computer as she uploaded Tony's virus into the ship's systems. More guards poured into the corridor outside. Pete and Lisa were running out of ammunition. "We need to go," Lisa shouted. More guards coming from both directions. Jake and the Admiral crashed into each other in the center of the room. They fought like wild animals, using fists and claws and teeth. Zexthara was stronger, but Jake was faster and smarter. The Admiral grabbed Jake by the throat and lifted him off the ground. His claws began to close, cutting off Jake's air. "Your species ends with you, human," Zexthara hissed. Jake smiled even though he could not breathe. "Look around, Admiral. What do you see?" Confused, Zexthara glanced around the war room. That was his mistake. Jake had grabbed the Admiral's ceremonial dagger from his belt. While the alien was distracted, Jake drove the blade up under Zexthara's chin. The point went through the Admiral's brain and came out the top of his skull. The massive alien's eyes went wide with surprise. Then they went blank. Admiral Zexthara, conqueror of 47 worlds, fell to the floor and did not move again. "Upload complete," Amy announced. "The virus is spreading through their entire fleet." Jake picked up the Admiral's severed head by its neck crest. Green blood dripped onto the floor, but he did not care. This monster had planned to destroy Earth and enslave humanity. Now he was dead. "Time to go," Pete said. "The corridor is clear for now." They ran through the ship's passages as alarms continued screaming. Behind them, Jake could hear the sounds of confusion and panic. The virus was working. Viridian computer systems were failing throughout the fleet, but they were still trapped on an enemy ship with thousands of hostile aliens between them and safety. "The prisoner holding area," Jake said as they ran. "We get our people and find a way off this ship." When they reached the holding area, they found that Colonel Dan Murphy and the other prisoners had already overpowered their guards. The rescued humans were armed with alien weapons and ready to fight. "Colonel Murphy," Jake said, "good to see you alive." "Captain Morrison," Dan replied with a grin. "I thought that was you under the disguise. What is the plan?" "We take control of the ship's command center and use it to contact the human fleet." "What human fleet?" asked one of the rescued prisoners. Jake smiled, the one that just arrived. Through the ship's windows, they could see new ships appearing in space. The USS Liberty was leading a group of human vessels and alien resistance fighters. Alex Turner had kept his word and brought help. "A virus is working," Amy reported, checking her scanner. "Half the Viridian fleet has lost power. Their navigation systems are failing." But their celebration was short-lived. The ship shook as something large hit the hull. Viridian Marines, Pete said grimly. They are trying to retake the ship room by room. Jake looked at the group of humans around him. 23 rescued prisoners, his 4 crew members, and himself. Against 5,000 alien soldiers. We hold the war room, he decided. It has the strongest defenses and access to the ship's main computer. They fought their way back through the corridors to the war room. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of battle as human ships engaged the Viridian fleet. Explosions lit up space outside the windows docked in the war room. They barricaded the doors and set up defensive positions. Amy connected her equipment to the ship's main computer and began taking control of critical systems. I can control life support, artificial gravity, and internal defenses, she reported. But there are still thousands of aliens trying to get to us. The first attack came an hour later. Viridian soldiers blasted through the barricades with heavy weapons. The humans fought back with everything they had. Colonel Murphy proved to be an excellent tactical commander. He organized the defense and made sure everyone had ammunition and cover. Lisa used her diplomatic skills to coordinate with the human ships outside. Pete led counterattacks that kept the aliens from getting too close, but they were still badly outnumbered. Captain, Amy said during a brief pause in the fighting, I have an idea. The ship's self-destruct system is controlled from here. If we threaten to blow up the command ship, the other Viridian commanders might surrender, Jake finished. Do it. Amy's fingers moved quickly over the alien controls. Warning lights began flashing throughout the ship. An automated voice announced, in the Viridian language, that the self-destruct sequence was armed. The attacks stopped. The corridor outside went silent. Then a voice came over the ship's communication system. It was Commander Kethfer, the Admiral's second in command. Humans, the voice said, you cannot escape. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly. Jake walked to the communication panel. In his hand, he still carried Admiral Zexthara's head. Green blood had dried on his uniform. Commander Kethfer, Jake said calmly, I want to show you something. He activated the video system. Every screen on the ship now showed the war room where Jake stood holding the Admiral's severed head. Your Admiral is dead, Jake said. Your fleet is crippled by our virus. Your invasion of Earth is over. Shocked gasps came from all over the ship as aliens saw their dead leader. But I am a reasonable human, Jake continued. I am willing to discuss terms. Terms? Kethfar's voice was full of rage and disbelief. Jake smiled coldly. Yes, terms. You see, we have complete control of this ship's systems. We can destroy it any time we want. And we have friends outside who are waiting for my signal. Through the windows, the humans could see that more ships were arriving. Earth's small defense fleet had finally reached the battle. The Viridian fleet was surrounded and damaged. So here is what is going to happen, Jake said. You are going to order all Viridian forces to withdraw from human space. You are going to release all human prisoners. And you are going to send a message to your empire that Earth is not to be attacked. And if we refuse? Jake held up the Admiral's head again. Then you can join your leader in death. All of you. The silence stretched for long minutes. Jake could hear alien voices arguing in the distance. Finally, Commander Kethfer spoke again. What guarantee do we have that you will honor any agreement? The same guarantee you gave us when we first met, Jake replied. None at all. But before anyone could respond, Amy interrupted. Captain, we have a problem. More Viridian ships are arriving. A lot more. Jake looked at the tactical display. Amy was right. A massive Viridian fleet was approaching, bigger than anything they had faced before. Time for the final gambit, Jake said quietly. He activated the ship-wide communication system again. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the corridors of the Conquest of Stars with Admiral Zexthara's head in his hand. Behind him, Pete Williams and Lisa Carter followed with weapons ready. The alien crew members they passed stopped and stared. In shock and fear, the main conference chamber was bigger than the war room. It could hold 200 people around a massive oval table made of black stone. When Jake entered, he saw that every seat was filled with alien commanders from across the Viridian Empire. Commander Kethfer sat at the far end of the table. He was smaller than Admiral Zexthara, but his eyes held the same cold cruelty. Next to him sat commanders from other species that served the Empire. Some looked reptilian like the Viridians. Others had fur or metal implants or strange colors. Jake walked slowly to the head of the table. No one moved. No one spoke. The only sound was his boots on the metal floor. When he reached the Admiral's chair, Jake placed Zexthara's severed head on the table with a wet thud. Green blood pooled around it on the black stone. "Now that I have your attention," Jake said calmly, "let us discuss terms." A silence stretched for long seconds. Some of the alien commanders looked sick. Others appeared angry or frightened. "You are insane," Commander Kethfer finally said. "Do you think killing one admiral will stop the Viridian Empire? We control 47 worlds. We have 10,000 warships." Jake sat down in the Admiral's chair. He was tired and dirty and covered in alien blood, but his voice was steady. "Commander, let me tell you what I think," Jake said. "I think you are scared. I think you have never fought an enemy that fights back. I think you have gotten soft from easy victories. We are not soft," snarled a commander with blue scales. "Really?" Jake smiled coldly. "Then explain how 5 humans walked onto your most powerful ship and killed your supreme commander." Amy Rodriguez entered the room carrying her computer equipment. She had been working to maintain control of the ship's systems. "Captain, the virus has spread to 70% of their fleet. Most of their ships cannot navigate or communicate." "Thank you, Doctor," Jake said. He looked back at the alien commanders. "You see, gentlemen, your empire has a weakness. You have been winning for so long that you forgot how to lose." Commander Kethfer leaned forward. "What do you want, human?" "Simple. Complete withdrawal of all Viridian forces from human space. Release of all human prisoners. And a guarantee that Earth will never be attacked again." Angry voices erupted around the table. Several commanders stood up and shouted in different alien languages. "Impossible," Kethfer said when the noise died down. "The Empire does not negotiate with prey species." Jake picked up Admiral Zexthara's head by its neck crest and held it up for everyone to see. "This is what your Empire does to species that refuse to negotiate." The room went quiet again. Lisa Carter stepped forward. "Commanders, we do not want to destroy your Empire. We want to coexist peacefully. But if you force us to fight, we will fight until there are no Viridians left in the galaxy." "You would not dare," said a commander with metal implants. Amy activated a holographic display above the table. It showed the current battle outside the ship. Human and alien resistance vessels were fighting Viridian forces. Many Viridian ships floated helpless as their computer systems failed. "The virus we uploaded is designed to spread," Amy explained. "Every time one of your ships tries to communicate with another, it passes the infection. Soon your entire fleet will be paralyzed." "But the virus can be removed," Tony Martinez said as he entered the room, "if you agree to our terms." "Commander." Kethfer looked around the table at his fellow officers. Jake could see they were frightened and confused. They had never been in a situation like this. "Even if we agreed," Kethfer said slowly, "what about the other Viridian fleets? What about the Empire's leaders on the homeworld? That is your problem." Jake replied, "But I suspect they will listen to you when you explain what happened here. Pete Williams moved to stand behind Jake's chair. "You have a choice, Commander. You can try to fight us and lose everything. Or you can be smart and live to rebuild your empire." "Rebuild?" Kethver's voice was sharp. Jake leaned back in the Admiral's chair. "Commander, your empire is based on fear and conquest. That worked when you faced weak enemies who gave up easily. But now you have met humans. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And we learn from every fight." Amy added more images to the holographic display. They showed human resistance groups across the galaxy joining together. Former slaves of the Empire were rising up. The Viridian conquest machine was falling apart. "Other species are watching this battle," Lisa said. "They see that the mighty Viridian Empire can be defeated. How long before they all rebel?" Commander Kethvar was quiet for a long time. Jake could see him thinking, calculating the odds. The alien was a soldier, but he was also a survivor. "What guarantee do we have that you will keep your word?" Kethvar asked finally. "The same guarantee we had when Admiral Zixthara threatened to exterminate humanity," Jake replied. "None. But I will tell you this, Commander. Humans remember their friends, and they remember their enemies." Jake stood up and walked around the table. Every alien commander watched him carefully. 3 months ago, Admiral Zexthara told me that in the galaxy there are only predators and prey, Jake said. He was wrong. There is a third type of being. There are guardians, protectors, those who fight not to conquer, but to defend. He stopped next to Commander Kethvar's chair. "The Viridian Empire can choose to be our enemy and face the consequences. Or you can choose to be our neighbor and prosper together. What will it be?" The alien commander looked at Admiral Zexthara, head on the table. Then he looked at Jake's tired but determined face. "If we agree to these terms," Kethvar said slowly, "how do we know other human fleets will not attack our worlds?" "Because I give you my word," Jake said simply. "And a human's word means something. More silence." Then Commander Kethvar stood up. "I speak for the Viridian Empire," he said formally. "We agree to your terms. All Viridian forces will withdraw. From human space, all human prisoners will be released. Earth will not be attacked." Jake nodded. "Dr. Rodriguez, please remove the virus from their computer systems." Amy began typing commands into her equipment. Around the table, alien commanders activated their communication devices and began giving orders to their fleets. "There is one more thing," Jake said as the meeting began to break up. "We want to establish an embassy, a place where humans and Viridians can meet to discuss trade and settle disputes peacefully." Commander Kethvar thought about this. "Agreed, but the embassy will be on neutral ground." "Acceptable." Over the next few hours, the details were worked out. Human prisoners were transferred to rescue ships. Viridian fleets began withdrawing. From human space, the virus was removed from alien computer systems. Colonel Dan Murphy coordinated with Earth's defense forces to ensure the aliens kept their word. Lisa Carter began drafting the formal treaty documents. Amy and Tony worked with alien technicians to establish secure communication channels. As the sun set on the greatest battle in human history, Jake stood on the bridge of the Conquest of Stars and watched the Viridian fleets jump to hyperspace. They were leaving human space, probably forever. "Captain," Pete said, joining him at the window, "what happens now?" Jake was quiet for a moment. "Now we go home. We tell Earth what happened here. We prepare for whatever comes next. Do you think they will honor the treaty? Some will. Others might try to cause trouble someday. But they will think twice before threatening humanity again." Lisa Carter approached with a communication pad. "Captain, we are receiving a message from Earth. They want to know when we are coming home." Jake smiled for the first time in months. "Tell them we are on our way. Tell them the war is over. Tell them Earth is safe. 3 days later, the USS Liberty entered Earth's solar system. They were escorted by a fleet of human ships and vessels from alien species that had joined the rebellion against the Viridian Empire. The planet looked exactly the same as him when they had left 6 months ago. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown continents. But Jake knew that everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the galaxy. They had enemies, but they also had allies. More importantly, they had proven something to themselves and to the galaxy. Humans were not prey. They were not conquerors either. They were guardians who would fight to protect what they loved and defend those who could not defend themselves. As the Liberty descended toward Earth's surface, Jake thought about Admiral Zexthara's last words. The alien had said that Jake's species would end with him. The Admiral had been wrong about that, too. Humanity's story among the stars was just beginning. The Treaty of Terra was signed 1 month later in a ceremony attended by representatives from dozens of worlds. Earth became the center of a new alliance dedicated to peace and mutual protection. Some called it the end of the Viridian Empire. Others called it the beginning of the human age. Jake Morrison, promoted to Admiral of the Earth Defense Forces, preferred to think of it simply as the day humanity grew up. The galaxy would never be the same.